Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Harley Gentry Makeup Artistry. In this video I'll be showing you how I achieved this look that was inspired by Aja from season 9 of Rupaul's Drag Race. To see how I created the look, just keep on watching. First of all, I started by blocking out my eyebrows using a glue stick, but leaving a short section at the front untouched. Taking a comb, I'm then brushing the brows in the direction of growth, and then taking my finger and flattening out the hairs. Make sure that you stay tuned to my channel because I'll shortly be releasing a more detailed video on how to cover your eyebrows. Taking a wet wipe, I'm using it to clean up any excess glue left on the skin. Taking some baby powder, I'm using it to dry the glue and also create a flat surface for the foundation to lay on. Taking a big powder brush, I'm using it to dust away any excess powder. Make sure that you repeat the glue and powder process till you have a flat surface, and then go in using your primer all around your face while avoiding the eyebrow coverage. Taking a Kryolan TV paint stick in 2W, I'm using it over the eyebrow coverage to start concealing the brows. Then, taking a beauty blender, I'm using it to blend the foundation that we've just laid over the covered brows. Taking another foundation, which is the MAC Full Coverage in NW20, I'm using it over the top of the foundation that we've just laid down in order to further conceal the brows. I'm then taking that same foundation and using it across the whole of my forehead and across my eyelids. Using a dark foundation, which is the MAC Full Coverage in NW50, I'm using it across the whole outer edge of my forehead as a way of contouring and rounding out my head. This foundation may look too dark, but when I blend it out and powder over it, it will all even out. Going back in with my beauty blender, I'm using it to blend out the contour foundation that we've just laid down. Taking a light concealer from a palette by Freedom, I'm using it to highlight my forehead. I then went in and blended out the cream highlight with a beauty blender. Using the NYX Tame Frame Eyebrow Pomade in Chocolate, I'm using it to start creating my eyebrows. I'm starting at the hairs that were previously left untouched, and then I'm plotting out where I want the arch and the end of my brows to be. I'm now going in and connecting the front of the brows to the dots that we've just laid down. I'm then creating the top line of the brows by going from the top of the untouched hairs to the first dot that we have just created. I'm then going in and filling in the brows. Taking the Collection Eyebrow Palette in Brunette, I'm using the lightest shade to set and also intensify the brows that we have just laid down. Taking a dark brown from the same palette, I'm using it to darken up the ends of the brows. Going back in with the MAC Full Coverage foundation, I'm using it to carve out and define the brows. Using the lightest concealer from the Freedom palette, I'm using it to create a brow bone highlight, which I then blended in using my finger. Going back in with baby powder, I'm using it to set the foundation, contour and brows that we've previously laid down. Then, using a big powder brush, I used it to dust away the excess powder. Using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit, I'm using all three of the dark shades to start contouring my forehead. Then, taking the Rimmel Stay Matte Pressed Powder in Warm Beige, I used it across the eyelids as a base for the eyeshadows that we'll soon be applying. I then took a white eyeshadow and used it as a brow bone highlight. I'm now taking tape and applying it outwards from the corner of my eyes that will help to create a clean outer edge once eyeshadows had been applied. I then took a light blue from the Laroc eyeshadow palette and ran it outwards from the corner of my eyes and through my crease. Taking a slightly darker blue, I'm applying the shadow the same way that the previous shadow had been applied. I then repeated this process using a turquoise shadow. Using the MAC full coverage in NW20, I'm using it to create a cut crease effect. I'm then going back in with the white eyeshadow, but I'm using it all across the eyelids. I then applied a shimmery silver shadow all across the lids. The shadow I used was a Calvin Klein eyeshadow with silver grey. I then went in and peeled off the tape. Going in with a wet wipe, I use it to clean up any fallout that may have occurred from the eyeshadow application. Using a black liquid liner by Makeup Revolution, I'm using it to create a graphic wing. I started by plotting out where I wanted the liner to start and finish, and then I went in and connected the points. I then went in and created a line that went from the end of the line that we had just created, which then finished in the middle of my eye at the lash line. The next step was to fill in any in-between space that had been filled in with liner. I also created a really thin line on the inner corners. I then used an orange lipstick as a beard cover, which will help to prevent any 5 o'clock shadow from occurring. I then blended the beard coverage into the skin using a small sponge. I then set the beard coverage using the collection Sheer Loose powder in translucent and then dusted it away using a powder brush. Going back in with MAC Full Coverage Foundation in NW20, I'm applying it across the parts of the face that doesn't already have foundation on it and also across the neck. Once foundation had been laid down, I then blended it in with my beauty blender. I then applied a light Freedom concealer underneath my eyes using my middle finger. I also applied this concealer on my lip bow, across the middle of my nose and my chin. I'm also taking the concealer on a small brush to create a diamond tip on the end of my nose. Once the cream highlight had been laid down, I then blended it in using my beauty blender. Bringing back my MAC Full Coverage Foundation that I use as a contour shade, I used it to contour underneath my cheekbones and also my jawline. Once the contour foundation had been applied, I then blended it in using my beauty blender. Using the setting powder from the MUA Set and Reflect kit, I'm using it to bake underneath both eyes, set the area, catch any shadow, and also prevent the concealer from creasing. On a big powder brush, I then took Rimmel Stay Matte powder in translucent and used it to set the rest of the face. Taking a purple shadow from the Laroc eyeshadow palette, I'm using it to line the lower lash line. I'm then bringing back my Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit and I'm using it to further define my cheekbones and jawline. Using a Rimmel blush called Santa Rose, I'm using it to add a slight pop of colour to the cheeks. To contour my nose, I'm once again going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit. I'm not going to be creating a super defined shape due to the fact that I have a similar nose shape to Aja. I then dusted away the powder that I left underneath my eyes. Going back to eyes, I'm going to be creating a graphic inner corner. I'm going to achieve this using my black liquid liner by Makeup Revolution. I then took a white MAC eye pencil called Fascinating and I used it in my waterline. Moving on to shimmer highlight, I'm using the Makeup Revolution Strobe Highlight in Flash on the tops of the cheekbones, the bridge of the nose and also the Cupid's bow. For mascara, I'm using the black Rimmel Extra Super Lash and I'm using it to coat the top and bottom lashes. I'm then applying a pair of Primark false lashes in the style Dramatic to the top lash line. I went for this style because they are similar to the ones that Aja is often seen wearing. As a way of cheating the illusion I'm wearing lower lashes, I'm taking the Makeup Revolution liner and I'm drawing in individual lashes. Now taking a wet wipe, I'm using it to clean off any product off of my lips so that when it comes to applying my lip liner and lipstick, it won't cloud up the final result. To line my lips, I'm taking a brown Natural Collection lip liner and I'm using it to slightly overdraw my lips on the top and bottom lip line. To fill in my lips, I'm applying a pink liquid lipstick by PS Beauty. To line up the colour of the pink, I'm taking a matte MUA lipstick called Totally Nude and I'm applying it across the entirety of my lips. The final step is creating the appearance of freckles. To create this effect, I'm using the brown lip liner to create small dots underneath the eyes and across the forehead. And this is the final look. I really enjoyed creating this look and I hope you enjoyed watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and if you're not already, maybe even give my channel a cheeky subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos to come in the near future. Thanks for watching.